Central Scotland's rock and sport authority. This is Rock Sport Radio.
Today we're talking esports. Now, what are esports? Well, it's nothing to do with some kind of new drug that people are taking for sports. But Brian Houston from Esports Scotland is on the line now. So, esports, one of the world's fastest growing areas of sport, and apparently generating 400 million in revenue in 2016. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And by 2020, it's due to generate $1 billion worldwide in revenue.
So, what is esports?
The golden question. It's basically competitive video gaming. So, in the way you have sports, you've got players, organisations, tournament organisers, and all that. The same is for esports, except instead of playing sports, they play video games.
So, straight away, my mental picture of a lot of gamers is that they're either incredibly skinny or incredibly obese. They're not generally physically in great shape. Is that true?
No, it's not actually. Like most of these sports players I know have like healthy living. Like they go to the gym, they go outside, and it's just one of the sort of stereotypes I think that's associated with gaming these days. But if you look at like professional esports organisations, they have support teams that have like dietitians and personal trainers and stuff like that. And like healthy living is one of the big things we're trying to sort of bring to esports.
Now, although I'm sounding completely unknowledgeable about this subject, I am actually a player myself. I do game myself.
Nice.
Primarily PlayerUnknown Battleground, a big fan of that. But what are the big esports out there? What's really grabbing people's attention and pulling in the numbers? It's
one of those weird things. It's hard to sort of quantify it because if you quantify it in different ways, it's different esports. The biggest prize money in the world is for Dota 2. They do a tournament every year called the International, and it's basically like the Dota 2 World Cup. And last year, the prize money for it was $25 million. With the winning team getting $10 million.
Wow.
So Dota 2 is quite a big one. The other big ones is stuff like League of Legends. That's like still one of the most viewed esports on Twitch. Overwatch is pretty huge as well. Like we just had the Overwatch League like at the weekend there where London Spitfire won it. And that's getting huge like viewing numbers on Twitch. I think one of the most up-and-coming ones is probably Fortnite. Like, that's the most popular game in the world right now. And the people that publish it, Epic, have put in, I think it's like $100 million to put towards prize money for the next year for various tournaments.
Okay, well, since we're getting into all the money of it all, you guys are Esports Scotland. What the heck do you do?
Well, the main thing we do right now is we're sort of do events, basically. We do offline and online events. Like this year we launched Scottish Esports League, which was 10 games across 25 weeks of online tournaments. And we're finishing it off at the end of the year in October with like this big event we've got called Big Fest in Edinburgh. And also at that event we'll also have the Overwatch Esports Scotland Cup, which is another event we do. And we've also done events in PC World. We've been to places like EGX Res and TEDx. And so that's predominantly what we're doing. But in the future, we're hoping to sort of do more other stuff about supporting the Scottish esports scene and growing it as well.
So on that subject, is there much money in it in Scotland? Are there people who are pros and making reasonable money?
There are some professional players in Scotland. There's Brian, who's a Street Fighter 5 player, and there's one of our esports ambassadors as well, Josh. He does racing games. It's that way that the UK it's still catching up with the rest of the world with esports. Like we're sort of in a good position, but the UK is still catching up, especially Scotland as well. Like there's a sort of lot of work to do in Scotland to get the infrastructure in place to support players so that they can become professional, but it's getting there sort of every day.
And what about the life of a gamer? What's the life expectancy? And I ask this because my daughter was at one point number one in the world for Subway Surfer.
Oh, nice. And
she was 11 at the time. And her reaction times were sensational. I tried playing it, I'm out instantly. Well, compared to her. as you get older, the reflexes slow down. Are you kind of out of the gaming world once you get past a certain age?
It depends on the game. Like reflex-based games like CS:GO, which is a first-person shooter, like your average age of an esports player in that is between like 17 and 25 years old. But then you've got sort of games that don't require as good of reactions, like stuff like Hearthstone, where it's like cards on the screen. So it varies, like, but your average age of an esports player is usually between 17 to 24.
Is this going to make it to the Olympics? There's a lot of chat about that just now.
Yeah, there's so much chat about the Olympics. Like, I really hope it does make it to the Olympics. It's one of the things we're sort of working towards. Is like we've done sort of some interviews about it, and yeah, it'd be amazing to have it alongside the Olympics. The last one, I think, in Rio, there was a sort of esports thing that happened. They had a Smash tournament there, and it was a kind of low deal thing though. So hopefully, as the Olympics go on, we'll have esports there and have it represented there. Like, that'd be just amazing for the industry.
Well, one of the other things that's amazing is the news that's just broken. I just saw it yesterday. Part of one of the reasons why we wanted to get you on. Canada is welcoming its first ever esports gaming stadium.
Nice.
Is there a lot of interest and excitement about that?
Yeah, I like the more sort of esports stadiums we can get, the better, because that's where you really see esports. It's on all its glory when you're sort of at an arena or a stadium, and there's there's thousands of people there all cheering about the game. Like already this year in the UK, we've had ESL 1 Birmingham, and we've got the Face It CS:GO Major also happening at the end of the year. And they're being held in like massive arenas, and the atmosphere at them was just unbelievable. And there's also smaller arenas, like in London, there's the G Infinity Arena, and there's also the Red Bull Gaming Sphere as well, which is sort of like medium-sized arenas that are there to accommodate esports tournaments and events and stuff. And one of the goals we're hoping is to get an arena like that in Scotland, because it would just the boost it would give to the esports scene here would be astronomical.
So in terms of people turning out for events just now, what kind of attendances are you getting in Scotland?
Well, we've not, like, this year our main focus has been online events. Like, next year we're planning to do more offline events. Mm-hmm. But we've done an event at PC World at the weekend there. Uh-huh. It was like 12 PCs were set up and people could come along and play Fortnite with their friends. And we were all thinking we'd get about 30 people showing up and something like that, but it was closer to 80 people that showed up.
Nice, okay.
And it's that way, like, we know the demand's there. Because the ESL 1 Birmingham I talked about, that was one of ESL's fastest selling tournaments worldwide. And they actually had to expand the arena like 3-4 times, I think, because it sold out that quickly. So the demand's there. It's just sort of getting the infrastructure in place to meet the demand, I guess.
Awesome stuff. It's been great talking to you, Brian, and love to get you on anytime there's anything happening in the world of esports. Yeah,
definitely. Thanks for having me. It's always good to talk and educate people about esports and the wonders of it.
Central Scotland's Rock and Sport Authority. This is Rock Sport Radio.